This receipt was printed at 6:47 p.m. on March 19, 2023. Publix grocery store. A mother buying her daughter's favorite snacks before a handoff she knew would be permanent. 3 hours and 43 minutes later, that little girl would be found screaming in a darkened stairwell, her father's blood still warm on the concrete below. Mommy did it. Mommy did it. Mommy. But here's what makes this case different from every custody battle gone wrong you've heard before. Rachel Moore never pulled the trigger. She didn't need to. Because 300 miles away, a man who had NT spoken to this family in over a decade was already loading a silver revolver. This is the story of how a $150 Venmo payment became a murder-for-hire contract, and how a 4-year-old became the only witness who told the truth from the very beginning. March 19, 2023, 6:30 p.m. The Publix parking lot. The exchange was supposed to be simple. Court mandated. Neutral territory. Christy Moore walked her granddaughter Presley across the parking lot to where Colby Vincent waited. Rachel stayed in the car with her boyfriend Chris. Professional. Distant. The way divorced parents do it when the courts force proximity. Do you have childcare set up for this week? Christy asked Colby. A reasonable question. This was the first overnight Colby had been granted in over a year. What Christy didn't mention, this was also the first time Colby's exact address, apartment 406, building 7, had been confirmed in writing. The court documents had arrived just 2 days earlier. What she definitely did NT mention, that address was already written on a piece of paper in a car 300 miles north, along with a description that read simply, white male, tattoos, shorter hair. Rewind. The custody battle that wasn't really about custody. To understand what happened at 9:30 p.m. that night, you need to understand what Rachel Moore believed she was fighting. Colby Vincent, by Rachel's account, was a functional drug addict. Not the kind who falls apart, the kind who adapts. Move him out of the drug environment, and he'd become the drug dealer. She'd tried. They'd moved 4 minutes from her mother's house for a fresh start. Within months, Colby was growing marijuana in their home. You can't do this, Rachel told him, their infant daughter sleeping in the next room. This is a dangerous situation for our daughter. But Colby's addiction wasn't to the drugs themselves, it was to the lifestyle, the control, the hustle. And when Rachel finally left him, taking 14-month-old Presley to her mother's house, Colby didn't stop. According to Rachel, he followed them, brought the drugs with him. So Rachel did what parents in impossible situations do. She took it to court. Here's where the story fractures into two competing realities. Rachel's version. She had evidence. Photographs of Presley with burns and bruises. Proof of Colby's drug dealing. The court wouldn't even look at it. The system, the government, as she'd later tell Jason, had failed her at her moment of greatest need. The court's version. On March 17, 2023, a judge ruled in Colby's favor. First unsupervised overnight visit. Standard custody arrangement. What actually happened in that courtroom? We'll never know with certainty. Court records are sealed in custody cases involving minors. But here's what we do know. Rachel Moore walked out of that courthouse believing she had just lost her daughter to a man she considered dangerous. And within 48 hours, she would make a phone call that would ensure Colby Vincent never saw Monday morning. The man 300 miles away, Jason Curtis, called Booger by family, had NT been Rachel's stepfather in any meaningful sense for 13 years. He'd been married to her mother Christy briefly, a relationship that dissolved when Rachel was still a child. But family ties, even severed ones, carry their own kind of gravity. On Monday, March 13th, 4 days before the court ruling, Rachel called Jason. She was panicking, she'd later admit, spiraling about the upcoming custody hearing. Don't worry about it, Jason told her. It won't be something you have to worry about. Then he sent her pictures. Knives, guns, Renaissance festival weapons, Rachel would claim, though she'd never explain why medieval daggers would comfort someone worried about a custody hearing. Rachel says she deleted those messages immediately, found them disturbing, didn't think anything of it. But she also didn't stop calling him. The night everything changed, March 19th, 2023, 9:34 p.m., the 911 call. The Santa Rosa County dispatcher answers on the second ring. I got a subject down over here. He's in front of 406. The responding officer's body cam activates as he approaches Building 7. It's dark, the kind of Florida darkness that swallows streetlights. He can hear something before he sees anything. Crying. A child. Hey. Hey. Who's in here? Is there anyone in here? Then he sees her. 4 years old, standing in the stairwell, her small frame shaking. Presley Vincent, wearing pajamas, her eyes wide with a horror no child should comprehend. Okay. Okay. Come here. Come here, honey. The officer scoops her up, instinctively moving her away from what he has NT fully processed yet. A man lying face down on the concrete landing, a dark pool spreading beneath him. It's okay. It's okay, the officer murmurs, the lie so automatic it sounds like truth. But nothing is okay. Nothing will be okay again. The scene paramedics arrive within minutes. They approach the victim carefully. You never assume anything in these situations. GSW, gunshot wound. They're told, but where? How bad? Then one of them kneels closer, tilts the man's head gently. I'm guessing in the head. In the back of the head. Colby Vincent is 24 years old. He will never be 25. The bullet entered behind his right ear at close range, so close the medical examiner would later find powder burns. It's the kind of shot that speaks to proximity, to trust betrayed. You don't let someone get that close unless you know them. Unless you feel safe. Colby Vincent felt safe until the moment he didn't, or what the neighbor saw while officers secure the scene. They canvassed the complex. Most residents heard nothing. Sunday night, TVs on, windows closed. But one neighbor was walking down the stairs with his father when he heard the shot. Not multiple shots. One. Single. Decisive. I saw the man on the floor with blood, he tells police. And I saw a guy walking to the pine needles. This detail, walking, not running, will haunt the investigation. The killer wasn't fleeing. He was leaving. Calmly. Purposefully. The neighbor heard him speak, though he couldn't make out all the words. But one phrase cuts through clearly enough. This is what you get. Not rage. Not panic. A statement of fact. The delivery of a promised consequence. Paragraph 5. Mommy did it. The officer holding Presley tries to distract her. Where's Mommy work at? Is she at work? But Presley isn't interested in answering questions about work schedules. Mommy is at my house. The officer shifts tactics, trying to keep her talking, to ground her in something normal. Anything normal. But then Presley says it. 3 words that will redirect the entire investigation. Mommy did it. Mommy did it. Mommy. Here's what's critical to understand. 4-year-olds don't understand legal nuance. They don't grasp the difference between pulled the trigger and made it happen. They deal in absolute truth. Presley didn't see her mother shoot her father, but she knew, with the certainty only children possess, who was responsible. The grandmother arrives 20 minutes into the scene. A woman approaches the police tape. Anxious. Demanding. My granddaughter came to stay with her dad for the first night in over a year. I just want to make sure she's okay. This is Christy Moore, and her arrival raises immediate questions. How did she know to come? Who called her? And most importantly, how did she get here so fast? Her story, her friend Kim lives upstairs. Kim's son Dustin called about police cars. Christy rushed over. But there's a problem with that timeline. Dustin didn't call until after Colby was found. Yet Christy is already here, first on scene among family members, asking about her granddaughter who she dropped off just 3 hours earlier. The officers note this. File it away. But their immediate concern is Presley. And legally, the grandmother is next of kin on scene.
The questions begin. What's been going on with Colby lately? The detective asks Christy. Who has he been talking to? Christy's response is immediate. This is the first time he saw her in a year. Then she pivots to what she really wants to talk about. Colby is a great person. Don't get me wrong. Colby loved him just like he was one of my children. Notice the tense shift. Loved. Past tense. She's already processed his death, moved into memorial mode, but when pressed about the exchange at Publix, her answers become careful, rehearsed. It went fine. I just walked over to him. I did ask him, do you have childcare set up for this week? What she doesn't say is just as telling as what she does. Meanwhile, at Rachel's house, While Christy is being questioned at the scene, two detectives drive to Rachel Moore's apartment. It's 11:30 p.m. The lights are on. Rachel answers the door in pajamas, confused, afraid. "Your daughter is fine," the detective begins. "Always lead with that when there's a child involved, and then Colby has passed away." Rachel's response isn't shock, it's immediate singular focus. "Where is Presley?" "She's safe. She's perfectly safe. Nothing has happened to her." Rachel's face, the detective will later describe it, doesn't show grief or surprise. It shows calculation. "I don't know. I pushed him out of my life as far as possible." This phrase, "pushed him out," will echo through the investigation. How far out? Far enough that she wouldn't know who might want to hurt him? Or far enough that she could claim not to know? The investigation tightens March 20th, 2023. The interrogations. The next day, detectives bring both Christy and Rachel in separately. Professional, methodical. But underneath the courtesy, there's pressure. "We have a picture of the person who did it," the detective tells Christy. "It's only a matter of time before we identify him." This is a lie. They have a neighbor's description. White male, walking calmly away, but no picture, no identification. It's a classic interrogation technique. Make the suspect believe you know more than you do. Wait for them to fill in the gaps. Christy doesn't bite. "I don't know anybody. This makes me sick to even think about." So they bring Rachel back in. Same pressure, different angle. "I don't want you to be caught off guard if it turns out it's someone you know. If you're withholding information, how is that going to work for you? How would that work out in Presley's favor?" Rachel holds steady. "My family's not violent. I don't understand." But she's sweating now, fidgeting. The detective can see it. So they change tactics. They bring Christy and Rachel into the same room, give them a moment together. That's when everything breaks open. "The name I called Booger on Monday," Rachel says suddenly, as if the words have been damming up behind her teeth for days. Booger, Jason Curtis, her ex-stepfather who's been out of the family for 13 years. "I told him about the court date. I was panicking. He told me not to worry about it, that it wouldn't be something I'd have to worry about. He sent me pictures of knives and guns, but I didn't think anything of it because he lives far away." The detective leans forward. This is the moment. The crack. "What did you do with those pictures?" "I deleted them. As soon as everything hit the fan, I was like, this probably looks awful." Yes, Rachel, it looks awful, but she's not done. The pressure, the sleepless nights, the anxiety, it's all pouring out now. "I called him yesterday, and he told me not to worry about it. Everything's fine. And then last night he called and said, I don't have to worry about it, and everything's fine." The detective's pen stops moving. "Did he come by your house?" "No, that's why I was like, I didn't think that would actually happen." There it is. The admission she didn't mean to make. She didn't think it would actually happen. The phone records. Once Rachel names Jason Curtis, everything accelerates. Forensic download of her phone reveals what she tried to hide. March 13th, multiple calls to Jason. The panic calls when she's spiraling about the court date. March 17th, the day of the ruling, more calls, longer this time. March 18th, a Venmo payment, $150, labeled innocuously gas money. March 19th, 6:47 p.m., Publix receipt. Christy buying snacks for Presley, March 19th, 9:23 p.m. Final call from Jason to Rachel, 7 minutes long, March 19th, 9:34 p.m. 911 call, subject down. The timeline doesn't just suggest coordination, it proves it. And this Jason Curtis, the interview. When they arrest Jason Curtis at his home 300 miles north, he doesn't run, doesn't resist. He's been expecting this. "Does the name Colby Vincent sound familiar to you?" the detective asks. "I don't know his name. I've never met him." But when they press about Rachel, Jason's mask slips slightly. "All I know is Rachel was upset, real upset. She said the court ruled in his favor and they wouldn't even look at the pictures of where the baby been abused and burnt. She said he was selling drugs out of that apartment. The detective leans in. So Rachel is positive that the system, the government, failed her at her time of need. So she calls her stepdad, who makes her feel comfortable. Who reached out to take care of her, right? I told her to pay attention to her mother, to do what her mom said. Jason, I'm giving you the opportunity to save Rachel right here. So where does your love really lie? My love lies with Rachel, but I'm not going to cop to something I didn't do. I'm not going to go to jail the rest of my life for something I did not do. But you're going to let Rachel do it? There's nothing I can do about it. It's a confession in everything but words, the evidence. The search of Jason's home yields a silver revolver, matching the caliber that killed Colby Vincent. A handwritten note in his car. White male, tattoos, shorter hair, apartment 406. No alibi for March 19th, bank records showing a $150 deposit on March 18th. The gun hasn't been fired recently, or so it appears. But forensics reveals something crucial. It's been meticulously cleaned. The kind of cleaning that speaks to knowledge, to planning. Because here's what the evidence suggests. Jason Curtis drove 300 miles. He waited in the parking lot. He watched Colby Vincent return home from that first overnight with Presley. He followed him up the stairs. And then at close range, as Colby turned his back, Jason Curtis delivered what he believed was justice. This is what you get. Act 4. The Trial and Aftermath. April 24, 2025. It takes 2 years for the case to reach its conclusion. 2 years of legal maneuvering, of Rachel and Jason's attorneys trying to separate their fates, of Christy pleading ignorance. But the jury sees what the detectives saw. A conspiracy built on desperation, family loyalty, and $150. Rachel Moore, guilty of first-degree murder and evidence tampering. Life without parole. Jason Curtis, guilty of first-degree murder, life without parole. Christy Moore, guilty as an accessory to murder. Sentencing pending. In the courtroom, Rachel shows no emotion. Jason stares straight ahead. Christy weeps. None of them look at the empty seat where Colby Vincent's family sits. This case isn't really about a custody battle. It's about what happens when someone becomes so convinced of their righteousness that murder feels like protection. Rachel Moore truly believed, or convinced herself to believe, that Colby Vincent was a danger to their daughter. Maybe he was. Maybe the court overlooked evidence. Maybe Rachel's fears were justified. But here's what we know for certain. Presley Vincent lost her father at 4 years old. She watched it happen. And now she's lost her mother too. Not to death, but to prison. The system Rachel claimed failed her has now taken everything from Presley. Both parents, her grandmother, her innocence. Who failed this child? The courts? Rachel? Colby? All of them? The evidence we can't ignore. Let me be transparent about what remains unclear. Did Colby Vincent abuse Presley? Rachel claimed to have photographic evidence. Those photos were never admitted to court. We don't know if they didn't exist, or if they were deemed insufficient evidence, or if there's a sealed record we can't access. Was Christy Moore more involved than she admitted? She was the one who confirmed Colby's address. She was first on scene, but no evidence directly connects her to planning the murder. Did Jason Curtis act alone, or was this coordinated? The timing suggests coordination, but Jason never confessed.
If a $150 Venmo payment can buy a murder and a 4-year-old witnessed it all, what else are we missing? Drop a comment with your theory on who knew what. Smash subscribe so you never miss when justice goes wrong. And share this with someone who needs to hear what really happened that night. The truth doesn't spread itself.